spruce things up a little bit, huh? Spruce things up a little bit with some opening day graphics, courtesy of the people at Underdog Fantasy there. That was kind of fun. No, not an ad, not an ad. Just a reminder to everyone to make sure you get in that split the pot and do so intelligently. Chance at 500K there. Don't pick the chalk. Nobody needs $10 because Aaron Judge hits the longest home run today. Go out on a limb, take Jake Berger, take someone sick, have some fun. I'm excited. Opening day. I'm not going to lie. A little tired after last night. Appreciate the real ones, the realest of real ones who stayed up late with me last night, joined me on a whim out of nowhere, RKO out of nowhere, to get into that 150th dinger there. Shared my exposures behind the paywall. It was a little nerve-wracking. It was a tad embarrassing. Actually, the most embarrassing part was I was wearing different headphones and didn't realize that they had a microphone, and I effed up the intro there, which is a streamer of my quality should never do such a thing. But yeah, let's get after it today. As you guys can see on the screen here, last call, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes to get in the dinger and the frozen rope. I think we're doing pretty well. I think we're up over 90% in the dinger. Obviously, this number would have, I think we would have easily filled the dinger here had it not been for a little hiccup with the state of New York there, a great baseball state. But yeah, 90%, not bad there, chasing down that $1 million prize. Still time to get in these last two. I'm done. I'm done with the dinger. I didn't end up getting any more frozen ropes in. I ended up doing some daily stuff this morning to get prepped for the show and talk about today. But yeah, there's still some frozen ropes available there. Let's reset some of our principles. Let's reset some of our principles when it comes to drafting these dailies, drafting these daily MLB contests. The 101 of where we start is the weather. The weather every single day. Unlike any other sport, weather can play both such a huge factor in, shortening starts, raining out games, so games don't even happen, and too bad, so sad, they're just left on the slate kind of deal. And then weather can play such a big factor in terms of boosting either bats or pitchers, like either way, right? We always tend to gravitate to our friend Kevin Roth over here at Roto Grinders with the weather stuff. The 101 check in here, and early in the season, more so than like boosted bat conditions, we're going to be looking for temperatures, man. We're going to be looking for who's playing in the 50s versus who's playing in the 70s. And there's one that stands out in a big way today, and that's KC. That's the Royals going to be in that mid 70s, whereas other games are going to be in the 50s. And they have one of the largest outfields in baseball. It plays up for run scoring. And now all of a sudden we have Tanner Bybee scratched from his start due to some food poisoning. And we're going to get Ben Lively in that ball game. So Bobby Witt, the 101 today with a bullet. Yeah. And one of the other reasons as to why with a bullet is pitching, man. Pitching, especially early in the season here. This is going to be point number 2. A lot of these guys are not going to be like fully ramped up, ready to go right out the gate and get like 7 innings and stuff like that. Quality starts and wins matter so much on our site that guys aren't going to be ramped up and ready to go full right out the gate. So pitching is going to matter less and less. We are talking about 80 inning 80 pitch, 4.5, 5 inning starts. If you go to some of the hashtag models today, it's going to be really hard, very, very hard to project guys for over 4.7 through 5.3 innings, right? So, yeah. When Nez take update, yeah, I told him, hey, come on, drop by, pull a cameo, do whatever you got to do. But he was up late last night. with the baby and still, still doing dad life right now. So originally he said, 2 weeks. And then I said, hey, man, it's opening day. Get in here. The long con is up. We can stop pretending that we're just basketball and football bros, and we can come in here and talk what we love to talk about. Not that we don't love to talk about the other stuff, but you know what I mean. The one true love, the original, the OG, the long con to get everybody to love baseball out here. Yeah, so early in the season pitching, man, we're just looking for strikeout upside. And obviously, Paul Skeens going against a quad A team has that in spades today. But that being said, it's so hard on our platform to separate at pitcher. And you know when else it's when it's even harder to separate on our platform at pitcher is when every single pitcher on the slate is fucking fantastic today. So yeah, Skeens versus a quad A team in a good pitching environment. Yeah, he has definitely 101 qualities today. But if we use our VORP analysis here, you can get leverage by getting to guys who are completely undrafted at the pitcher position that have not similar K upside, but K upside that kind of rivals that. Yeah, so what do we got here? Macro principles, that was kind of what I wanted to hit on pitching there. I wanted to hit the weather stuff. Other macro principle is just ballparks. Guys, we got to learn our ballparks all over again. We got to learn our park factors and that sort of deal. Today's 9-game slate, we're dealing with some that skew, run heavy, some that skew home run heavy, and then we're dealing with a whole bunch of outdoor versus indoor, that sort of deal. So, quick lay of the land for today's main slate is Kauffman, where KC plays, especially when it's a little warm right now, like comparatively to other places on the slate right now in that mid 70s. It plays up for run scoring. It has the biggest or second biggest outfield in all of baseball behind only Coors, I believe. So when that ball gets in a gap, it runs and it goes for extra bases. And that's why, days like today, the speed of Bobby Witt play so beautifully in that ballpark. Miami on the other end of the spectrum, peak pitchers environment there. We can look at a park like, Busch Stadium today. It's kind of a net neutral spot, but it'll play down for home runs today because of, the rain, the potential rain conditions there. That one kind of like the ugliest of the games on the slate in terms of potential weather, but it looks like it'll be good to go. Yeah. And then we can talk about minute factors of like Petco, for instance, like plays better for right-handed power or left-handed power than right-handed power. And how does that factor in our decision making? Well, Atlanta has Sale on the mound and Sale kills lefties. And now maybe I'm not as enthralled with getting to left-handed hitters against Sale, even though their power plays up a little bit better at Petco than right-handed power does. So these are just kind of like some of the macro principles. We'll talk about them as we go, as we draft, all these sort of things as the season goes on. Obviously, they'll keep coming up, but I just wanted to kind of go lay of the land for everybody there. The other big one is make sure you got your push notifications on for Underdog Baseball. We are not going to get any LOL hoops moments necessary. I mean, never say never, but on opening day, things are going to look pretty clean. But there were definitely some spots coming into the slate that we weren't 100% on. We didn't know if Josh Young was going to be starting today. We didn't know if Corey Seager was going to be starting. We didn't know if Vinny Pasquantino was going to be starting. And these little micro edges of, hey, I got a Bobby Witt team. Now I can tack on, one of these guys we weren't sure was going to be in the lineup. I can now add him to my stack in the middle of a draft before anybody else gets the push through notification on their phone in terms of, in the app where they then add the lineup spot to it. So just, little micro edges that we're always looking to push here. Good reminder that on a 9-game slate, we are not going to stack against our own pitchers. We can occasionally do a one-off here or there against our own pitcher, but it is standard principle to not ever stack against our own pitchers. There is a little bit of correlation in terms of game stuff where it's like, hey, if one team's beating the brakes off the other team, they're probably not going to throw their best relievers in a relief effort, or you might get a position player pitching in the future. So there is a little merit in game correlation, but most game correlation simply stems from park factor and hitting environments, that sort of thing. So, yeah. Here we go. Coach Nez in the building, newly appointed grandfather. I know he was a grandfather before this, but grandfather one more time over. Appreciate you being here, Coach, even though your son is not. Much love to you. Happy opening day to you and the fam. Yeah, those are kind of some of my macro ideas. I'm sure I'm missing some. I'm sure I haven't fully. Yeah, I guess that. I guess one more that I would say is just the evergreen reminder of how correlation plays in this game, and that we're going to routinely talk out of both sides of our mouths when we talk about a slate. I think Garrett Crochet is a great example of that today, where it's like I really want to have the K upside of Garrett Crochet today in my lineups because the Rangers and the lineup they're rolling out has a propensity to strike out. But I also do recognize that the Rangers lineup in which they're going to roll out today also has some of the best power on the slate and some of the best ISO in indoor hitting conditions. So you talk out of both sides of your mouth where it's like, yeah, I'm going to want some Crochet for the upside, but I'm also going to want some Rangers for contrarian back stacks that have power and introduce leverage off of a guy like Crochet who's getting drafted at 100% frequency in our contest, right? So just resetting some of those principles here. Yeah, we could do we'll do some game by game. We will do some position by position. I'm just trying to kind of like verbally reset everybody for this new change in sport. Reminder that it is 2 infielders, 2 outfielders, 1 pitcher, and then we can allot the flex as we see fit. Outfield kind of feels like pretty deep in terms of slate dynamics today, but just in terms of the way in which you can stack guys, like the Angels having like the primary Angels stack being all 3 outfielders and all 3 of them going like every draft and all 3 of them being correlated like 1 through 4. You got to start to learn the patterns of infield outfield again, because some of them are different than our dinger contest. One of which being O'Neal Cruz, for whatever reason, is listed as an outfielder now. So just be aware when you guys are on the clock and jumping all around. What other principle will be just kind of teams that show propensity to pinch hit more frequently than others. That in the past has been the Giants, the Rays, the Twins in a big way in recent memory. So we just have to be mindful of that not all lineup spots are created equal. Whereas like Atlanta, for instance, just historically speaking, they set it and they forget it. And maybe there's like one platoon outfielder where Jared Kelenic gets hit for by Brian De La Cruz or something like late in the ball game. That's something like that. Whereas, the Twins, for instance, Matt Wallner's leading off today. If they bring in a lefty third time through the lineup, methinks Matt Wallner comes out, and that limits the upside of just 2 ABs. Now, could he do enough damage in 2 ABs versus a scuffling Sonny Gray right now who was sick in recent memory? Perhaps. So just putting these kind of like macro principles out there for people to, just dive into. I do have behind closed doors here. I was going to pull up the Bat X. I have not looked at the Bat X yet. The Bat X is kind of the quote unquote gold standard for baseball projection as of right now. And I just want to remind everybody that baseball is a binary outcome sport, and guys who are superstars are going to be projected for 0.7 RBI, 0.25 stolen bases, 0.6 runs, and they're going to be projected this way. And that's not how baseball works. That is not how points are scored in baseball. The best players in the world in the best spots can oftentimes go 0 for 4 because you cannot score fractions of fantasy points in the same way in which you can in basketball, for instance. So baseball is a far less projection driven sport. That being said, the gold standard that we'll look at every single day on stream is always the bat X, right? Because that's the benchmark. And in particular for pitching, that's where a lot of people, just go to there. And I instantly look at the pitching. I just pulled up the pitching. I instantly see a gripe that I have here with the pitching versus the quote unquote ball knowers. Now, I'm going to respect the fact that Cardi, wants people to pay for this and that sort of thing. So I'm just going to show the upper spectrum here in terms of his model where, the fifth pitcher right now is Sonny Gray. And from a historical standpoint, from what Sonny Gray did last year, from the weather conditions at Busch Stadium today, I can't argue this projection. But from the human being element and what has been taking place recently with Sonny Gray, velocity down, got shelled the hardest of any pitcher in spring training. He got the hit the hardest. I think he gave up 13 or 14 earned runs. And that led him to not being fully stretched out. As I alluded, velo was down as well. And he's dealing with an illness that he basically nursed all week. And there was like a red tag beside his name in the Dinger drafts. Will he be ready for today? Will he be ready to pitch today? And it sounds like he's ready to pitch today. But my guy is definitely not 100% if he's been getting shelled, the velo is down, and he's sick or recovering from sickness. So this is where we juxtapose the ball knowers with the models, and this is just one isolated example. So I'm going to be on the other side of history when it comes to Sonny Gray today. I am not going to draft Sonny Gray today, and I am actually going to look for spots to stack against Sonny Gray today a little bit here. It just little minute things like this is just things we talk through every single day. On the show. Okay, let's jump back. One last macro point about the way in which we build on this site. You will see the Jay Witts of the world. You will see the Tom Mato, like tomato, but spelt differently. Some of these players who are very good players on our site, but they will come in here and they will do 5-man contrarian stacks, push the plane, and fuck off. This is their playing style. It has proven to be successful in the past because correlation in run scoring is uncapped in our games comparative to football, where football is, hey, you can only score X amount of touchdowns in a given game, right? Like in baseball, if they're going nice and the hitting conditions are nice and they're in a good ballpark, it doesn't matter if you're batting, fourth or ninth, there's going to be value to be found in certain lineups on certain days, and guys will build that way. And you will see leaderboard scoops as the season goes on of ways in which people are going to build like that. It's not how I build. It's a very profitable endeavor for some people, but it is a very much 150 maxers auto bro mentality for the games. In terms of the way in which I build a lot of 4-man stacks plus a one-off, a lot of 3-man stacks plus a 2-man skinny stack. I do a lot of 3-1-1, or I do a lot of 2-1-1-1 kind of thing. And I find paths to getting contrarian because the only way in which you're going to get duped in MLB is if you stay within the parameters of ADP, or if you do SP1 and then batters 1 through 5 in a contrarian lineup. So for instance, today, if you do Paul Skeens at 1 and then you go, what team do I kind of like a spot that has lower ADPs? Okay, how about the Twins, for instance? John was just talking about Sonny Gray. Oh, look at this. Perfect. A 30 through 35. They're not getting drafted all the time. And look at this. Ryan Jeffers is buried all the way down here. Batters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Paul Skeens in the first round push the plane. That's the only way in which you're going to get duped. And it's a viable strategy here, but it's just things we have to be mindful when entering the contest. Yeah, Turn Me Up wants me to stop. I'm giving away the secret sauce. Enough. Cut the stream. Cut the stream. Nah, it's what I'm here to do. It's what I'm here to do. We'll all find ways to win. Well, I'm just laying out the land because I want more people who are in the NBA streets, who are in the NFL streets, as the course of the summer come, get on over here. I mean, we got 6K to first today with a 30K prize pool, and it's going to fill early. So, I mean, I'm getting really excited for the potential of what we could see this summer in terms of MLB contests. I think we could have, if we weren't trying to fill the Frozen Rope and the Dinger this morning, if it was just opening day, I mean, 50, 60K guaranteed, I think that would have filled. But we had to fill the best ball stuff first, and now we push forward with what we can do in the future here. All right, sad day. I'm going to hit this with the refresh, and those games are going to disappear. Those contests are going to disappear there. All right, we are on to third three-bagger Thursday, number 2. So the main contest is already filled. So we have a second one up at the $10 price point there. We are on to Triple Play 2. We are on to the cycle here. The cycle's going to fill soon. Those are the 10-person draft contests. The $100 contest, the Big Fly, has already filled. So, I mean, we're living right out here. Let's go over to the beautiful unabated interface here. We could talk a little bit. About like just the game-by-game games and the macros. But when I'm doing this on my lonesome, when it's opening day, when we just drafted a whole bunch, we could talk about it on the fly as we build it out more so than our traditional show dynamic. So let me start by saying another macro point about run totals and implied run totals is if you look at just your standard books like this, you are going to see over and over again the exact same thing with baseball, much like you see with hockey, with like the puck lines and the puck totals, is we are going to see a lot of 7, 7.5, 8, 8.5. And then the games in which will skew like one run heavier will be obvious as shit. It'll be Great American Ballpark. It'll be Kansas City today because Ben Lively's now pitching and the weather's decent. It'll be the Angels today and this sort of thing. So just be mindful of the resource in which you're using will skew, like any projection model or any resource you're using will skew run totals in like the biggest way. So like if I look at one resource right now on Roto Grinders, if I look at one sports book, and then I look at, one independent model like Easy's Sheet, for instance, they are going to all skew so differently. And that's very different than like football, where we just kind of like put our hands up and trust Vegas in terms of implied team total. Because in baseball, pending who you project in the lineup, what you factor into your model, it's going to skew run lines by like 1 to 2 runs. So some places you look right now, the number one place for getting home runs today is in that Garrett Crochet versus Nathan Eovaldi matchup versus with the Red Sox and Rangers here. And you're not going to see that in terms of the run line or the total here, because it's the exact same. It's 7.5. It's the exact same as somewhere else, like the Royals is actually higher. But in terms of hitting home runs, some models are going to project this environment best. Others are going to project, this Reds game environment as better, right? So it all is where you find your information, guys, in terms of like your decision making out here. Yeah, we can talk about maybe a one-off stick. Let's do a fun little exercise here in like a rapid fire kind of game by game right now. Phillies and Nats, I am kind of just a little bit off right now relative to ADP. I think the Phillies have a very nice lineup. I don't love the fact that it's lefty-lefty. Although that being said, Kyle Schwarber, one of the best left-handed power hitters, first left-handed pitching in all of baseball. One of the other ones is on the slate as well. That's Francisco Lindor, and he is facing a lefty today. He is a switch hitter, though, so a little bit different. But over the last 2 years, in terms of total home runs hit against left-handed pitching, those two are at the top of the leaderboard. Now, there's a lot of noise in that because they basically are in the lineup every single day. They have always had 650 plate appearances in those seasons, yada, yada. So from a rates perspective, there's going to be other guys who are quote unquote lefty killers who hit them better. But just from a macro standpoint, in terms of total home runs, those are the guys. Now, they are not spots that I am looking to bet heavily on today. I'm not looking to bet heavily on the Phillies spot in general today. I think the park plays a little bit down this time of year. It's a little bit colder. You got to pick and choose some spots because if you're 150ing out here or you're 100ing for the way the contest was set up, you're going to want a little bit of everybody. Like you're going to want a little stack here, a little stack there because it's baseball. It's baseball. Anything can happen on any given day. The best pitcher in the world can get shelled. The worst pitcher in the world can come out and spin 5 scoreless, right? And for what it's worth, Sean Burke is not the worst pitcher in the world. And that's the chalk spot that everybody's getting to. Ben Lively as well, not the worst pitcher in the world. Definitely not the worst pitcher we're going to be talking about on this show as the summer progresses. So, attacking some of these chalk spots over and over again, it can work for you on isolated days. But if you're only playing limited entries or you're only trying to get 5 or 6 in here, maybe 2 chalk pieces, and then 3 scroll the F downs or whatever. You really got to find contrarian paths out here. And the one kind of chalk path that I've looked at and been like, that's not my favorite on the slate relative to ADP is the Phillies today. And, famous last words, because that can age so poorly, right? Because they're getting drafted at 100% frequency. But I was gravitating to the Royals over them. I was gravitating to the Red Sox over them. I was gravitating to the Angels over them. And then obviously Great American Small Park, I was gravitating to both Reds and Giants over them. So that's where I was at. And that was leading me to soft fade of the Phillies. If you just want a one-off Nationals bat, I would go with James Wood today. That was the one that was kind of like looking the best to me. Kind of alarming to see Dylan Cruz buried in the order on opening day. So there's that. Red Sox and Rangers. This is going to be a nice hitting environment because it is indoors, and that really matters this time of year when you juxtapose like 65, 68 degrees with like some of these environments that are going to be like 50, 51. So like they're not on our slate today, but the Yankees Brewers game, I mean, normally it's great to hit at Yankee Stadium, but we're dealing with like 51, 52 degrees. That less than ideal there. I'd rather play, sticks in the indoor environment, especially ones with as much power as both these lineups consist of. I've done some scroll the F down. Jake Berger. I guess we could show my $100 team because the 100 has already filled. That is Dinger stuff. Let me see here. My big fly team, as you guys can see, I've had 25 and 1 here. I was fortunate enough to roll the 101 here. I take Bobby Witt there. I do a little bit of Sal Perez stack. I did this draft before I knew Vinny Pasquantino was in the lineup, which maybe I would have taken Vinny P, but I'm still a little skittish on the hamstring. People thought he was going to be IL bound to start the year, and now he's going to play through it and be ready for opening day, which is no surprise. If you listen to him on Baseball is Dead, he's a fucking gamer, dude. He's a beauty. He was talking about like his love for wrestling and stuff like that with Carabas, who's also a wrestling guy. It was pretty funny. But I went contrarian stack. I went, hey, who has some power and whose power can I leverage against a pitcher who's drafted 100% of the time? And I just went with, hey, let's go Seager, Langford, and Adolis. They're going to be hitting 3, 4, 5. They're not going to be 100% drafted. They were all, top 5 round picks in the dinger. Obviously, Crochet is so nasty, but I wanted that indoor environment, and I wanted this. I went with a 3-2, which historically speaking is not as good as a 3-1-1 build, but that's what I opted to do in this one. And then I went with Cole Reagans for the K upside, though it is an awful strikeout matchup against the Guardians because historically speaking, we don't obviously have data from this year. They do not strike out a ton. That could change a little bit with everyday at bats from Manzardo and Big Christmas and some of these guys who are now in the lineup that the historical rate stuff won't reflect as full-time players last year. I kind of regret the Cole Reagans pick. He's not a guy that I'm totally overweight on. Today, but I think it's fine. He definitely has the K ceiling, as I was alluding to. If I could go back in time and redo this one, just taking a little look at what's going on to help you guys in your drafts right now. I think Hunter Green, kind of very Garrett Crochet-y, where I say, hey, I like the bats in that game, but hey, I also like the fact that Hunter Green has big time K upside against a stack that's getting utilized decently. So these are the talk out of your sides of your mouth stacks there. I'm worried about Sonny Gray, as I said. I'm also worried a little bit about the weather in terms of St. Louis and Minnesota. Not that the ball game doesn't not like get played, just the fact that maybe if there happens to be a delay, one of those pitchers gets a little shorter outing than we're accustomed to. But I'm worried about both the springs that Sonny Gray and Pablo had. I actually think the spring stats are in here. Nice to see him get up to those 80 pitch count thresholds. But I mean, look at this spring for a guy who was, a monster last year in terms of the Ks. Gives up 3 runs, 4 runs, 8 runs, 5 runs. Now he could have been working on things. He could have been whatever, but I don't know. I'm a little worrisome on those guys. So they were off my board. Sandy Alcantara, he didn't fully ramp it up in terms of pitch count. I don't think he really has any shot at a quality start today. And that bonus matters, but it matters a little bit less early in the season because there's a lot of pitchers that won't have the opportunity at a quality start today. I think Zach Wheeler is the safest bet for a potential quality start today. I think him and Skeens are kind of on another level today in terms of quality start potential. But in hindsight, maybe, I'm kind of fine with the Reagan stuff. I don't know. In hindsight, maybe it's a little bit better to scroll a bit further and get to like the Clay Holmes of the world or something like that. But I don't think there's any denying that Cole Reagans will still project better than Clay Holmes today. All right, cool. Yeah, let's go back to Unabated there. Let's see if I got anything else to share. I won't have a single hitter in this game or a single stack from Pirates and Marlins. That is going to be pitching only for me. It's a very contrarian path to first, but I won't be touching that. Obviously knowing that O'Neal Cruz can kill you on any given day. But I'm not in love with that one against a ground ball pitcher who throws hard as fuck. Good spot to get some contrarian sticks that are underpriced relative to their power upside. And the reason they're underpriced is because of the ballpark and because of how good the pitchers are in terms of strikeout in Michael King and Chris Sale in this one. But if you want to get some contrarian leverage, I haven't seen anybody doing Padres 3-mans or 4-mans. I think you could do worse kind of deal. If you wanted to just single out one bat, it's obviously Tatis there, and that's not telling anybody anything because he goes in the majority of drafts. But I do think the Braves stack is a little underpriced today. In particular, the lefties. Like I haven't seen Michael Harris get drafted really, so I do think that's I do think there's some merit in getting to like a Michael Harris, Matt Olson skinny stack against Michael King, despite the strikeout rates being so good. Angels and White Sox, I think I've done with Lou Bob like one time. Interesting to note that Miguel Vargas is leading off today for the White Sox. Andrew Benintendi is DHing despite being a lefty versus Kikuchi. I've done a decent amount of Kikuchi in here. He always projects well from a strikeout standpoint in these positive matchups. That being said, it's weird when you're at the back end of draft boards and going, NL Cy Young winner and Chris Sale from last year, or Yusei Kikuchi, so I have been mixing and matching, but Kikuchi feels like a decent spot today. Angels, play Trout as long as Trout's healthy. But I do think the other outfielders are a little overpriced in tandem with it. They're being forced up because people think the White Sox are so bad. But Sean Burke is okay, but he has a propensity to walk the world. So correlation plays better with guys who put runners on base. Just, of course, John. And Sean Burke does do that. He does put guys on base. Everybody wants to get to the new look Mets today, and they're going up against a lefty and Frommer, who those Crawford boxes look so enticing for some of the right-handed power. I alluded to Lindor, and then obviously Pete Alonso and Mark Vientos as just right-handed power with that short porch in left field there, the Crawford boxes. But Frommer keeps the ball on the ground better than anybody else in baseball and led the world last year in quality starts. So if you want a contrarian deep dive pitcher who's probably not going to kill your lineups today, he might not be the reason you win because the strikeout rate leaves a little something to be desired comparative to some of the other aces on the slate. If you just want a contrarian arm that's going to go against, a super chalky Mets lineup, I'd throw in a Frommer or two. Why not? Why not there? Next one's here. Actually, I think I had something mentally to say about Mets lineup. Did we get the Mets lineup yet? I think we did. I was keeping an eye on, it's not going to factor into our contest today. We did get the Mets lineup. I was keeping an eye out for what they were going to do with Acuna versus Brett Beatty. I almost took an Acuna share last night in the dinger, and then I thought differently. I probably should have just done it. Okay, so this is interesting. So they're going with Lindor leading off as a righty versus a lefty. That was not the norm all of last year. They did do a lot of Nimmo lefty at the top of the lineup, and I didn't love it, especially when they had Harrison Bader and Tyrone Taylor who can kill lefties. So I do kind of like that they've done this kind of like move Nimmo down. Lindor, Soto, Alonso, Vientos, and then they got this bottom half of the lineup, leaves something to be desired there. I don't know. Starling Marte and Winker are probably going to be like a platoon at the DH, shifting handedness. So just interesting to check out lineups. We get Profar leading off in the absence of Ronald Acuna instead of Michael Harris, which is kind of unfortunate. Little revenge game narrative there for our guy Profar, switch hitter, but I don't know. I thought they would be leading off Michael Harris there. I might have my Profar bags aren't going to be looking so great if that is the norm going forward. I had to laugh, guys. Okay, while we're looking at lineups, I had to laugh that my guy, where is he? Guardians lineup. Man. Yeah, I know he's a switch hitter. Don't you worry. Don't you, Marco, my man, you can't slide in here and think I don't know Francisco Lindor is a switch hitter. He kills lefties, man. But last year they didn't do the leadoff thing with him. They did the Nimmo. They left Nimmo in lefty a lot. This Guardians lineup cracked me up because I was so enamored with Nolan Jones in Dinger season. And now it's Guardians lineup. Oh, surely after they trade for him, he's going to be starting. He's going to be in there lefty. Don't worry about the platoon with him against Reagans. And now Nolan Jones isn't in the lineup on opening day. It's just shit, here we go. Encouraging that Kyle Manzardo is in here. Someone asked earlier, if anybody's listening and they're still in a Dinger draft, I would mix in a Kyle Manzardo share at the back end of drafts. I would go with it. I would go with it. Yeah, man. Acuna starting and Tyrone Taylor over Siri. Yeah. Yeah, those were the two things that we were kind of looking at. Raise It telling us that Jorge Soler has some of the best home run odds for the day. Shop around, guys. That seems like a good one. That sounds like a good one there. Yeah, the Nolan Jones bags in shambles right now. Yeah. Uh-oh. Yeah, Nolan, uh-oh. All right, guys. There we go. Yeah. Giants and Reds doesn't play well. This is an evergreen reminder about Great American Small Park, aka Great American Ballpark. First off, they do a parade for opening day every year. That's so fucking sweet. Should be a national holiday. So cool to keep traditions like that alive here. We have Hunter Green on one side, who is an elite strikeout rate guy, but has the propensity to get hit hard at times. A little less so in recent memory than say like 2 seasons ago. But throw hard, hit hard, right? And this is a ballpark that plays well for power. So if you want to get to a little bit of left-handed power like Lamont Wade Jr. as a contrarian leadoff hitter, he is a platoon, aka pinch hit risk in this contest. But I do kind of like him getting a couple ABs today, a guy that I haven't seen anybody else draft yet. So that's just a fun one. But just a reminder that this ballpark plays so well for home runs, but not necessarily for run scoring. And home runs play better when the weather gets warmer later in the season and the ballpark shrinks, right? Like the ballpark metaphorically shrinks. Days like this early in the season, they're not going to have the crazy outlier implied run totals that, like, say, Coors Field would have today, even if Coors Field is like 58 degrees today or 51 degrees today. Coors Field is still going to have higher implied run totals because of the vastness of the outfield, right? That one kind of contrarian Giants one there. Also, the Red stuff. Spencer Steer avoided the IL. He is starting today. Just interesting to see, Christian Encarnacion Strand is in the middle of that lineup. Jamer Candelario, who's probably going to end up being like a little bit of trade bait later in the year, in the middle of that lineup. But this lineup looks pretty strong for what we were kind of like humming and hawing about early on in the draft season there. I think the most shocking thing is Gavin Lux hitting fourth. Some of the scroll the F down ball knowers got to him in the dinger there. You could do worse today, but Logan Webb is really good at keeping the ball on the ground. Professional ass pitcher. That being said, I'm not playing Logan Webb today. Just don't really see the ceiling outside of innings there. Guardians and Royals, probably the chalkiest favorite spot of the day, particularly on the Royals side. Just love Bobby Witt today. What else can you say? As I alluded to, little scared about Vinny Pascantino, Vinny P there with the health stuff, with the hamstring. It was a grade 1 hamstring tear. And for people who, or strain, sorry, not tear, strain. And people who know anything about them, more so than me, I'm not a doctor, but the pendulum of strain, 1 is not the most severe. It's actually the least severe. So, we'd be more concerned about a 3 than we are a 1 there. So just throwing it out there. Spot that not a ton of people were getting to, that I was getting to more so than everybody else, was this Twins and Cardinals game. I just see 2 pitchers who are a little bit older and who might need a little more time to ramp up to start the season, who both got shelled in spring training. Could they have been working on things? Yes. Could they have been, just eating veteran innings and, they come out raring to go on opening day? Yeah. So I'm not going all in on this spot, but in terms of like contrarian in quotations with a little bit cheaper ADP right now, I've been digging some Cardinals and some Twins 3-mans. That Lars Nootbaar ADP is going to age like wine from the dinger if he ends up being the leadoff hitter all year long there. I love to see what they end up doing versus lefty. I guess they won't get one in the Twins series, so we'll see in the future here if Lars continues to lead off, and this Mason Wynn, who had a bad spring, who got pushed down in the order, if he ends up finding his way back to the top or not. All right, guys. That's the breakdown. Unabated, our home for NBA, WNBA, and MLB. Consider signing up. Their props tool is amazing. Their pick'em tools amazing. Going to find you all the plus EV bets in the world there. Promo code Badgett, sign up, or the link in the bio below. 20% off there. Other things I got to say. Do not forget to do the pick'em here on Underdog to have your opportunity to split the pot today. It's a no-brainer. I believe you have to do it on mobile because I am not seeing it unless I click the little gift box here. Yeah, I believe you got to do it on mobile. You got to do it on mobile. But make sure you get in there. Make sure you try and pick the longest home run today, and don't be a chalk donk. Don't be the guy. There's going to be what? 28 home runs hit today? 25, 28, 27? Something like that would be like the benchmark figure. If they got the juice balls in there for opening day to get people excited about the game. I think there was an opening day record a couple years back that was, north of 38, 40 or something like that, something insane. Yeah, go for it. Get in there. Marco, I haven't looked at it, man. They're not on our slate. They're on the redacted slate only. So I haven't looked into the Brew Crew a ton there. Yeah, make sure you guys get that. Make sure you guys get in here and pick a dude who hits the ball far, who is not going to be drafted, basically. That is the name of the game. Give yourself an opportunity. Alejandro Kirk, baby. Alejandro Kirk. All right, guys. Let's do this. Let's hop in to the 3-bagger Thursday. Do one or two of these, and then maybe we'll do a cycle as well. And then we can close with some potential pick'em stuff. Best Ball Viper, there he is. He found his way to New Jersey. You love to see it. Best Ball Viper taking drafting and baseball so damn serious that he's hitting the train to New Jersey to make sure he gets his opening day entries in. Fucking right. Love it. Love it. T-Bear telling me to check out the Padres lineup. Yeah. That's kind of what you expect. Lockridge, if you know, you know, with the meme earlier. Elias Diaz at the bottom. Hopefully he can kind of come up and flip with that Gurriel spot in the future there. Crone Zone versus a lefty, a little bit buried. Tatis leading off against a lefty instead of Luis Arias. That's just an interesting little note. Wanted me to take a look at Xander Bogaerts. Yeah, I mean, Bogaerts is fine. Hitting fourth. That's where he should be. Right-handed hitter. They gave him all the money. Put him on there. Let's see what our guy Chris does in here. Yeah. Oh my God, Best Ball is recovering from kidney surgery. Holy smokes. I remember you telling me at the dog bowl there that you had the kidney stones. Oh, it's brutal, bro. Brutal, my man. All right. Chris goes ahead and takes Skeens, which means we get my 101 at the 2-hole here. I love Bobby Witt today. I love everything that's popping for Bobby Witt today. And that's not going out on much of a limb because everyone, kind of every model I've looked at, every S word I've looked at suggests the same. If you do look at a couple here, guys, Ballpark Pal, free resource for the beginning of the season here, runs the S words on every single slate, gives you all sorts of fun stuff, park factors and BBP matchups and that sort of deal. Yeah, but just alluding to the fact that look at these run totals, even there's no jump off the page spots. So you're going to want to be sprinkling all sorts of plays in here. 3.8, 3.5, 4.5. So like the run differential between the chalkiest play on the slate is 4.56, right? Whereas like the quote unquote worst play on the slate is only 3.26, you know? Like you only get to face Skeens for 5 innings and then you get into that bullpen. So I'm not advocating for playing, Miami today. I'm just simply, stating the facts here. I like Devers today. I know a little bit of concern with the shoulder. Didn't have a great spring. He's not going to be playing the field. I do think he's just a solid bet for a potential home run today. So let's go ahead and add Devers, Bobby Witt together. Just a macro reminder when stacking Kansas City, they do not have a plethora of premium outfield options. The outfield options tend to be buried in the order. It tends to be an infield heavy stack. So just being mindful on your Witt teams that, maybe reserve an infield spot or two. I think now is a fine time to take Garrett Crochet. We're obviously not going to build out a Texas stack then. Encapsulate some of that strikeout upside. Obviously a guy that I want to be on both sides of the fence with. And then I think we're going to do a contrarian 3-man stack here of the scroll the F down variety. Let's think about some potential spots that we could like from a hitting standpoint. Maybe not on the main slate. Cleveland? Jose Ramirez is probably gone already. Yeah, Jose Ramirez is already gone. Okay, we don't want to stack Cleveland without Jose Ramirez. We could do San Diego, but they lack outfield depth, so they don't pair well with a 2 infield start unless you go the Jackson Morrell lefty-lefty route, which is fine. Entirely fine. So maybe if Tatis comes back to us, we could do that. We could do Atlanta as well. We could do like Ozuna, Profar, and someone. We could do the Reds without. Yeah, we could do the Reds without Ellie, but I don't love it because so much of their production would funnel through Ellie. I don't think anyone's going to play Jackson Morrell today. So let's do Tatis, Morrell, and then maybe a one-off or a third San Diego piece. Let's do that. San Fran would have been a good one there. I would have liked that. Matt McClain, yeah, just in general, feels good. Nice to see him back and healthy. There goes Chris doing the Giants stack there. So let's go ahead and take Morrell because there's not really any other San Diego outfield option. And the only other outfield options we could stack with this after Duran is gone is if we went down to like Willer Abreu or MJ Melendez, which are both fine picks today, but not guys that I'm in love with. In terms of like the BVP data, guys, I know some are hashtag believers and some are not believers in the BVP. Traditionally speaking, the analytic crowd spits on it. Whereas, I'm a little more, I'll listen to it, but I'm not, it's just another, feather in the cap, another tool in the toolbox there. But Josh Bell, he's at 49 plate appearances against Zach Wheeler, 300 hitter with 4 home runs. He's going to be hitting in the middle of that lineup today. And anyone who's stacking Nats bats today is going to be doing it by way of, Cruz, Wood, CJ Abrams. Nobody's really going to get to the Nathaniel Lowe and Josh Bells of the world if he wanted to put 2 big, beefy baseball boys together to get some contrarian leverage off of Zach Wheeler. I do think Zach Wheeler is one of the safest and quote unquote flooriest of pitchers today. So perhaps not a guy you want to stack against. But yes, I'm going to go ahead and throw that one out there. Let's take Manny Machado. Manny Machado has had some success against Chris Sale in his life. Obviously, not the greatest matchup in the world, but hey, what could go wrong when you pair the three best Slam Diego hitters together there? And we got Garrett Crochet, Bobby Witt Jr., and Rafi Devers. So a contrarian three-man stack with two guys I don't imagine get drafted all that much, and then the other three who get drafted almost every single draft, including the pitcher. We can do better. We can do better with the scroll the F downs. Let's get a little more creative in this next one. Let's have some fun. Tatis Machado, Jackson's a great combo. San Fran would have been good. Ooh, Best Ball Guy. What's up here? Guys, go check out Best Ball Guy, who's drafting football all the damn time. Check out his YouTube. About to be in the 20th round. Who's a sleeper pitcher? Take Jack Leiter. Scroll the F down to Jack Leiter. Why not? He's like SP90. Everybody else has been drafting Kumar Rocker. Get a little leverage off the community with a Jack Leiter pick. Max Meyer. I always mix up him. And Casey Mize. Oh, Big Coach Nez is getting in the drafts with Viper. Love to see it. Sagano, Japanese control artist for Baltimore. Feed families. Chase Stollander. I mean, I don't like taking Rockies pitchers like ever. But he does throw hard as fuck. He's kind of fun. Michael L. Trout, Paul Skeens, or Ellie. I do think it is a pretty clear top four today, guys. And if I roll one of those top four picks, I want to be taking one of those four options. And then after that, I'm willing to do anything and everything. Yeah, Timmy, I reserve the right to change my mind at times, dude. I reserve the right to change my mind. You were ahead of your time. I didn't think he had any chance at making the rotation. I think the Chad Bradford, what was it? Chad? Yeah. Chad Bradford's like the old submarine reliever. Who am I thinking of? Who's not ready for opening day? When does John not take Trout? Gotta play him while he's healthy, GA. Gotta play him while he's healthy. Cody Bradford. That's who I'm thinking of, right? Took his spot in the rotation. Yeah, Cody Bradford. I thought they needed the left-handed arm in that rotation. Yeah, Cody. You know who I'm actually excited to see pitch again this year, who has had success at Coors Field, is Herman Marquez. I'm excited to see that one again. All right, we could play the hits here, go back to the Devers well, do something like that. I think we should introduce a little Jose Ramirez to our lives. Let's get a little Jose Ramirez in this one. Mike Trout, Jose Ramirez. Maybe we do a little two-man stack with Cleveland, and then we go, Lane Thomas, a little bit of a lefty killer there. So, he fares decently well against lefties. Not a guy we were drafting a ton in the dingers, but yeah. GA, baby, 19 months out here flexing on everybody, dunking on everybody. If you guys aren't a member, consider being so. You can go back in time. You can watch my 150th dinger from yesterday. Shared my exposures. I'll share them again in the future. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. We're scrolling. We are scrolling out here. Let's go Cleveland. Let's go Lane Thomas. little bit of lefty killer. He runs into one of those high fastballs from Cole Reagans today. And then we'll get another contrarian 2-man in here. There's certain stacks, guys, that I'm just like not going to get to. And this is just stylistically how I play. You know, I'm a 20, 25 entry guy. Attack some contrarian spots that I like. If there's a lineup that is like a 4-man stack of like the Royals without Bobby Witt, or there's a 3-man stack of like the Reds without Ellie, like that's just like shit I'm not gonna get to, and I'll just like tip my hat and move on to the Max Sowers who get there. Those are just spots that routinely over the course of an entire season, I don't think will show the profitability that, you know, people might think they will. And they're just spots that I'll end up avoiding. I was going to suggest, you know, a little Michael Harris, but he's hitting them down in the order a little bit there. Let's go to St. Louis. I've been talking up how the springs have been bad for these guys. Let's do a little Willem Contreras and a Lars Nootbaar here and have ourselves a little 2-2-1. Lars leads off. Hopefully that indicates that he's not going anywhere in terms of pinch hit risk. The Underdog crew, including the Baseball is Dead show, is in Missouri today. They are in St. Louis. Yeah, it's a good omen. Win with a little St. Louis stack to go alongside them. Michael said you got to see Ramon Marquez pitch an immaculate inning live. That's pretty sick. Very sick. Jack coming out here to flex his 4 months on everybody and telling us Cubbies World Series, book it. Wow. Cubbies World Series. People were really split on the Cubbies. People were very split on the Cubbies and what that NL Central division was going to look like. All right. We got to pick a pitcher. Sale, Hunter Green. We got to scroll. Here. Hey, let's put our money where our mouth is. Nobody's going to play Frommer against the Mets, and probably rightfully so because the K upside is not there. But he is a quality start machine. He goes out there, just does work. He's going to be one of the guys on this slate that a team will be comfortable getting up to 90 pitches on opening day. That could be 6 innings. We're going to be hard pressed to find 6 innings out of anyone. Yeah. Let's check in on the GOAT, Sam Olson. Sam Olson flexing all over me, shoving it right down my throat because I fucking know he's watching. It's opening day. Where else would you be, Sam? And he goes, John says, that's just a stack I wouldn't get to. Stacking Kansas City without Bobby Witt. And what does Sam Olson do? He goes, I'm a flex all over you, bro. Vinny Pasquantino, MJ Melendez, Michael Massey, 3 lefties all in a row. Bang, bang, bang. Dunks all over me. Oh, my goodness. Here's my guy, Svi. Appreciate you. Longtime member, longtime viewer, longtime participant in the Discord there, coming in 5 Badge Bros memberships. Give him a little hat tip, a little handshake, a little firm handshake, a little throwback there to Dr. D. Give him a nice little firm handshakes in the chat there if you were a recipient of said membership. Coach telling us that Wyatt Langford's going to be an all-star. Your son thinks the exact same thing. I tend to agree, my friend. He definitely is in that range of guys in the second round of Dinger drafts who we could be drafting in the top 5 next year. Pitch telling me we could get that little Woods plus Josh Bell mini stack. Love it. No Bo Sox, a true ball knower, saying that Boston Texas game looks interesting to him. Not being drafted all that much outside of the top Boston bats. Couldn't agree with you more. That is exactly what I did in my $100 entry. Was that stack, that contrarian Rangers stack there? Duke asking if the dinger filled. I do not believe so. I think we got to 91% on the dinger. Let's take a little peek here. Check out this beautiful 150 that we got done, guys. The dinger, hardly newer. We ended up getting to 90.9% on the dingers. So there's going to be a little bit of advancement math in the foreseeable future for you sickos. Love to see it. Love to see that it got to 91 despite losing in the middle of the peak draft window, one of the best baseball drafting states. This thing would have filled easy. Would have filled easy. Pitch asking for the exposures. Can't do it. Cannot do it. You got to go check out the stream from yesterday. You got to be a member. I did it on stream, live reaction last night, right after the 150th. I will tweet them out tomorrow. I'll tweet them out tomorrow. But you got to be a member. You got to go jump in that members only stream there. I time stamped it the last 10 minutes of the stream. I dropped the exposures. I live react to them. It's yeah. It's something. It's a spectacle. T-Bear asking, can we do streaks on desktop now? Not yet, sir. In the future. Not yet, sir. But this is a good reminder. Streaks, hella fun for baseball. Just picking a dude who's going to hit a dong every single day and trying to string them all together. Hella fun. Kikuchi worked up to almost 90 pitches last spring start, hoping he can be the one who goes 6+ today. Love it. We know that he can struggle with his command, though. He is one of those guys that is Blake Snellian in terms of high strikeout rates in good matchups, but also a propensity to walk guys at times, right? Yeah. Diego rolling through. Good, you're giving hockey some love. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Always, man. Love sharing the love for the puck streets there. Timmy asking, do I think it would have filled without the New York shit? Absolutely. Like without a doubt. Without a doubt. Losing New York is like losing Canada. Like almost. Like not actually. Not actually. It's like losing, it's like losing 5 states. And it's such a big baseball market with both the Mets and the Yankees. And there's so many sickos from our platform who reside there and draft heavily there. Yeah, I think it would have filled easily. I think they did a beautiful thing with the structure and the dollar price point. I think there's no reason to not run it back next year, or to even hashtag make it bigger when we continue to expand and grow. Getting any Giants today? Absolutely. Absolutely got some Giants. Some Giants 3-mans. Best Ball Viper, this is fake news, my friend. New York is definitely not bigger than Canada. Canada has a bigger land mass than the entirety of the United States. And their population is double that of the state of New York. Canada's like 40 million. Canada's population is basically identical to the population of California. All right. Boom. Roasted. Not just spreading the facts, the knowledge out here. Okay, guys. I said I will do a cycle, and as we do said cycle, I think it closed. Oh, we lost the cycle. Let's see what Numi and Hope are cooking up for us. All right, one last 3-bagger Thursday, and then we're gonna go in the pick'em streets. I am using the Bat X behind closed doors here to see what we are working with in terms of edges. I will do a Bat X unabated stamp of approval pick'em Then I will do the fucking vibes, the absolute vibes pick 'em. Yeah, no UD in Ontario, so it actually is close in terms of drafting. Yeah, it's actually kind of funny, Respooked, that the North American globes and North American maps that are taught in like American schools juxtaposed to like international schools, like the land density that you could see, it's pretty funny. It is pretty funny how small it looks. GM Pat Poker rolling through here. I'm on Google Chrome right now and having no issues with Underdog. So that might just be a you thing. AZ cards, by the sounds of it, it's working on Firefox as well. So we should be good there. Hey, shout out to Turbotron who joined me on a whim in the 150 last night there. If Turbotron happens to want to share any one of my exposures, I won't fault him. I will not fault him. All right, guys, say what up if you are Terry, if you are Nick in this draft. I know Vin Deep's watching. I know Top Fantasy Plays, aka Justin, is watching. Juan Soto with the 101, fucking putting the stamp down. This is the beautiful thing about baseball dailies, guys. You can do whatever the F you want. You can go anywhere you want. You can get the GM. You can get the all 30 ADPs team. You do it as you see fit. Okay, what's the chalk Ellie stack going to be? It's going to be TJ Friedel leading off and Matt McLean, right? That's going to be the chalk. So let's go ahead and add Christian Encarnacion Strand. Nah, he's batting 7th. That doesn't sound fun. Steer's batting 6th. We'll add Spencer Steer. Let's add Spencer Steer to Ellie. A 3-man and then 2 contrarian one-offs. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. We're going a 3-man. We're going 3-man red stack here. That's contrarian. And then we're doubling down with 2 contrarian one-off picks to click. We could do the Nationals mini stack if we wanted to and stack against one of the higher owned pitchers on the slate. But I think we can go a little ball knowing. Go find a couple home runs. Just pluck them out of the sky here. What do you think about that? Pluck a couple home runs out of the sky. That ballpark pal tool is free today, suggesting that Globe Life is the highest home run park on the slate. Interesting. Just throwing it out there. Just sharing what the Sims were suggesting, the S words. Shit, we're back up. I'm messing around with who did I say? Gavin Lux. On the sucks to fucks scale, we select Gavin Lux. Let's do it. Let's do it. He wants to impress his new team on opening day. Let's do it. Let's go with dudes who want to impress their new team narrative. I think maybe we take a starting pitcher here because we're going to take contrarian bats. I think taking like Hunter Green, not a terrible idea for a little bit of correlation. But that game could go nuke. Let's take Yusei Kikuchi. He's stretched out 90 pitches, going against the worst lineup or second worst lineup. The Miami Marlins are by far the worst lineup. A quad A lineup on opening day. All right. I'm taking votes. I'm taking votes in the chat. Contrarian outfielder who's going to hit a dong. We're going with the Adamas proving he wants to get paid, or proving he deserves that he got paid narrative today. I like that. Matt, you caught it after. Appreciate you. Appreciate you going back and watching. Soto bombs, baby. A little contrarian. We go Met stack and then contrarian Atlanta from El Fuego in the one hole. Love it. Love it. Getting creative out here. Pterodactyl. What are we going to do? What's he cooking up here? He's just going, you know what, guys? I know the best plays. I know all the best plays. And I'm just going one off, one off, one off. And I'm going to ship this slate. Can't fault him. If he knows the best plays, he knows the best plays. Vin Deep doing the Houston stack here without Jordan. Justin's going with a little bit of a Philadelphia one without Harper and an Angels stack. I'm going with who wants to impress his new team on opening day here. Big Rake Burger. Lefty killer. Rake Burger hits a tank today off Garrett Choke Shea. Dominguez not on the slate. Max Kepler as a one-off I don't love. Friedel, we go four-man. Big beefy baseball boy. Damn right. Willer Abreu, I'm kind of scared he gets pinch hit for him. Burleson is an accumulator, not a home run guy, so I don't want to use him as a one-off. Noel, I'm scared he gets two at-bats and then Nolan Jones hits for him. Heliot Ramos is a good pick. Heliot Ramos is a really good pick. So is Trevor Larnach. Trevor Larnach or Yastrzemski. Yastrzemski's buried. He's hitting eighth. Let's take Ramos. Ramos picked a click. Great American Small Park cannot hold in my guy, Heliot Ramos. I like this shout. I like the Trevor Larnach one. A couple people came through with the Trevor Larnach one. All right. Don't dupe me. Last draft of the day. Yusei Kikuchi, Ellie De La Cruz, Gavin Lux, a.k.a. Gavin Fox, Jake Berger, a.k.a. Rake Berger, Spencer Steer, lefty killer. Hopefully a lefty comes out of the pen. And then Heliot Ramos. Him Elliot Ramos. Inventing nicknames on the fly. Egger's asking me. I gave comment last night on that game. I did watch a little portion of that game. And people told me, aka GA told me when I was doing the Zamboni draft the other day that Robertson was the 7th or 8th best forward on that team now. Absolutely not. 3 bangos last night. Love to see it. I'm really excited to get Colorado versus Dallas in that first series. That is fun. Very fun. All right, last piece of advice for the day before we make this pick'em is scroll the F down. It is baseball. Contrarian stacks. Contrarian stacks, my friends. All right. I am running the S words behind the closed doors on the Unabated platform. We're seeing a Ryan Pepio. That's for tomorrow. We can't be doing that. We're seeing a lot of break-even stuff. I'll share my screen in half a second. Sorry, bad radio. My bad. Very, very slight edges right now. Jordan Westberg, lower total bases. Cole Reagan's pitcher earned runs higher? Andrew Vaughn lower on singles. Jurickson Profar lower on singles. Salvi Perez lower on singles. Aaron Judge lower total bases. That's scary. Victor Robles lower runs scored. All right. Let's cook. Let's cook. Oh, you were talking about Miko? Okay, fine. Fine. All right. Let's cook. I'm really thinking hard about who my longest dong pick is going to be. My longest dong, I mean, it's got to be like someone so far off the board. Okay. Let me see here. Victor Robles. Mariners hate scoring runs. They hate scoring runs in that ballpark. Runs scored lower. The worst hitting environment in all of baseball today. It pains me as a man who is true to the blue. It pains me, but let's do it. Marcus Semien. They're giving us the singles. Lower on the singles. You can hit a double. You can hit a triple. You can hit a home run, Marcus. Just don't hit a single today. All right? Please no. Garrett Crochet, throw hard, hit hard. Extra bases or nothing at all, Marcus. We're going to will that into existence. All right, here we go. This one's a little scary because we talked about the propensity for Blake Snell to walk batters, okay? We've talked about this. He can be erratic at times, especially early in the season. He's a guy who skews later in the season. But Gleyber Torres, he's going to be eager to hit. He's going to be eager to show that he's worth the money. He's going to be eager to swing the bat against left-handed hitters or left-handed pitcher. He wants to prove I'm a lefty killer. I'm worth the money. I'm on national TV on ESPN versus the Dodgers. Gleyber Torres is not taking a walk today. Gleyber Torres is not taking a walk today. Despite Blake Snell's best efforts to not keep it in the zone, Gleyber Torres not taking an out today, or not taking a walk today. Logan Webb, strikeouts lower. I like that one. I like pitching lowers in a vacuum today in general. I think all pitching lowers, not all, but like a lot of pitching lowers are going to age gracefully today because it's just not a time where guys are going to be crazy stretched out, right? Let's tack on one more pitching lower. Chris Sale. Chris Sale, NL reigning Cy Young winner. He is not afraid to fill up the zone against the San Diego Padres today, the Slam Diego Padres. Let's make sure we don't have anything in the promo box. And then let's do the damn thing. A 20Xer, a little 5 builder, all lowers, aka no fun, on opening day. Let's put it in there. Let's put it in there. Those were all courtesy of the Bad X and the Underdog Fantasy Entry Builder Pick'em tool on Unabated. Now it is time for the bro science. For the bro science dong picks. Rake burger. Rake burger dong. Rake burger big dong. Matt Wallner leading off. Sonny Gray has been getting cooked. Matt Wallner dong. Long, deep dong. And then Mr. Opening Day himself. Mr. Opening Day. Tyler O'Neill. Mr. Opening Day. He has homered on 5 of the last 6 opening days. Some guys are just built different. Some guys are the son of Mr. Universe. $25 will pay. $25 on the 3 dong rippers will pay for the entirety of Dinger season on opening day. Not financial advice. Let's have some fun. That is fun, man. Cheering for dongs. Cheering for the dong gong on the Baseball is Dead live stream. Doesn't get much better. Doesn't get much better. Good BC boy. Product of the Langley Blaze organization. Former arch rivals of your boy. Former arch rivals. Con season. That was fun, guys. Thank you for indulging me. If you want to go back and watch the live reveal of my exposures, or you want to wait, it's up to you. They are bookmarked and time-stamped in last night's members-only video. I will be in the lobbies for a little bit more here, and then I will be watching some baseball before attending a concert this evening. Keep your eyes peeled. There will be a Diamond After Dark slate, and it's a fun one. We got that, A's team that loves to hit home runs, and then we got a whole bunch of good pitching between Cubs, Arizona, and the Mariners as well there. That'll be a fun little 2-gamer to get to. We are going to Riley Green this evening. A good old Southern boy with a Southern draw there. Good old country boy. So looking forward to that one. Be a lot of fun. All right, guys. Good luck to everybody. Appreciate you guys. Thank you to the good people at Unabated. Thank you to Cardi for the Bad X. And thank you to the Platform of the People, a.k.a. Underdog Fantasy. Do not forget to get your longest dong pick in for that one. Everybody's favorite time of the show. The end. Enjoy opening day. Peace.